This spring, Jacob deGrom is pitching on SNY. We'll see the two-time Cy Young Award winner, the best pitcher in baseball, on the mound today. From Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida, it's the New York Mets against the Houston Astros. Spring training on SNY is presented by Citi. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Toyota, save big all March during Toyota's Ready, Set, Go sales event. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by Nissan, choose Nissan today and get big savings. Shop NissanUSA.com. Alongside Keith Hernandez, I'm Wayne Randazzo in for Gary Cohen today. And Keith, we finally get to see deGrom on the mound here in Port St. Lucie today.
Well, this is always something you look forward to, whether it's a regular season game or a spring training game. This is the third start for Jacob here, two-time Cy Young Award winner. Finished third last year. I think he was in very strong contention last year for 3 in a row, but his last 3 starts he kind of faltered and took him out of the running, but nonetheless finished third in the voting. That ERA right there is just sparkling since 2018 at 2.10. And I think with the smaller ballparks and the much stronger hitters today, that is impressive when you throw up numbers like that. He's had 2 terrific starts. His last start was perfect, spotless, 3 innings, nobody got on base, 7 strikeouts.
Both of his spring starts so far have been against the Astros. I'm sure they're tired of seeing him, but deGrom goes against Houston once again this afternoon on a beautiful day in Florida. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Northwell. When we raise health, we raise everyone. By Cadillac. Visit your tri-state Cadillac dealer and experience the ultimate in iconic luxury. By HSS, the official hospital of the New York Mets. And by your local Ford stores for great deals on the full lineup of trucks and SUVs. Visit buyfordnow.com. Mets fans, suit up for a brand new season at MLBshop.com. Check out new 2021 gear and shop the largest selection of official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, collectibles, and more. Gear up with the Mets at MLBshop.com. Today's pitchers are brought to you by Cadillac. It will be Jacob deGrom getting the start for the Mets. We'll see all the A relievers: Jerry's Familia, Dellin Betances, Miguel Castro, and Trevor May. And Sam McWilliams trying to make the team too, as he is supposed to pitch this afternoon for the Mets against the Houston Astros. When we come back, Jacob deGrom on the mound. Jacob deGrom, the last 3 seasons, downright historic. 2018 and 19 Cy Young Award winner, finished third last year, third most strikeouts in the major leagues during that time, and an ERA, a minuscule 2.10 for deGrom over the last 3 seasons. And Keith, we are excited to see Jacob deGrom on the mound today for the Mets as he goes to the month against the Astros.
Well, I'm sure Met fans at home are excited to see Jacob here making his television debut. And there's his numbers from last year. You know, Jacob's win-loss record is never indicative of how great he's pitched. I mean, he is a star pitcher, upper caliber, unarguably, I feel, the best pitcher in the game. And there you have his numbers. That led the National League last year with 104 strikeouts.
Toyota Astros starting lineup. Dusty Baker glad to have his big boys, as he says, back in there. Alex Bregman is making his spring debut today. He's been held back by a hamstring problem. Yordan Alvarez made his debut just a couple of days ago. Alvarez had knee surgery during the offseason. So they're in there. Michael Brantley as well. And there's Dusty. How about the tie-dye mask on Johnny B. Baker Jr.?
Look at Dust, baby. And he's got even the neck hood behind him there. He's looking stylish.
That's right.
Now We'll take a look at your Lexus Metropolitan defense. And folks, you got the A squad out there for you. Conforto's in the lineup, but he's DHing. Pilar's getting a lot of work in right field. Nimmo is going to be the center fielder. You got Dom in left field. Newly acquired Lindor, the Gold Glover and Platinum Glove winner at short. The big pickup in the offseason for the Mets, both offensively and defensively.
There he is, Francisco Lindor.
Is he getting gray?
Well, yeah, he dyed his hair blue at the beginning of camp because he says he likes the grayish, silverish look that it turns into. So that's why he does appear to have gray, silver hair. It's not natural.
I got a product for him.
First pitch from Jacob deGrom. Blows it right by Jose Siri, and we are underway.
Well, opens up the guns with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And watch the motion, folks at home. Effortless.
Easy cheese, 99 from deGrom.
Good cut by Siri right there. Up out of the chute, he's swinging the bat. Now we know when you face the great pitchers and you're 0-2, we used to have to call upon what we call it the emergency stance. You're in trouble.
Laid off the high fastball at 100. We've seen deGrom get even up to 102 so far in spring training. This is just warming up for the season.
I don't want him to expend too many bullets in spring training. There's a slider.
And there's strike 3 to Jose Siri. One batter, one strikeout for deGrom.
Well, that's the 11th strikeout in 5 1/3 innings for Jacob so far this spring. After 3 straight fastballs up in the zone, throws the hard slider, and it's, you know, paint your wagon.
Jose Siri goes to get his paintbrush, and now Michael Brantley will bat. Native of Port St. Lucie, Florida. He lives here in the offseason.
They were able to re-sign Brantley in the offseason. Had a good year for the Astros.
It's a good year pretty much every year. He can really hit.
You can hear the pop of the glove. And folks, we don't have extra microphones out there. We don't expend a lot of money in spring training here, so he's throwing hard. He's popping that glove.
Pops that one at triple digits for the first strike on Brantley. There were some serious rumors in the offseason that Brantley was going to be a Blue Jay with George Springer going to Toronto, but he's back with the Astros. Can't catch up to that one. It's 2-2.
Boy, he threw that one right by him. And right now deGrom is throwing up in the zone here. Oh, up in the strike zone. I cannot get used to calling it the zone. Okay, I will not be contemporary, and I refuse to change. I call it the strike zone.
Yeah, we appreciate you sticking to your guns over there. Fastball velocity has only gone up. If you thought he was good before, now look where he is. Two batters, 2 strikeouts for deGrom.
Again, another little tight little slider down and in. Oh, just masterful. Tough to lay off. Wasn't a strike. Some boos for Alex Bregman.
The trash can still hanging over Alex Bregman's head.
You can see Bregman's numbers considerably lower than what you're used to, what he's used to.
101 on that fastball from deGrom. Bregman has not played yet this spring because of a hamstring issue. He's been nursing a hamstring injury, he says, since January. And he was working out in the offseason.
He's so sharp, and he's been sharp every start. He's just hitting the corners right now early in this Wigo.
Last time against the Astros, he faced 9 batters. He struck out 7. Bregman gets a piece of this one and flies it toward Brandon Nimmo. So not 3 strikeouts in the first for Jacob deGrom. He'll have to settle for 2 in a 1-2-3 inning. Here's the Geico Mets starting lineup, pretty representative of what it might look like on opening day. Dominic Smith in the 3-hole today with Pete Alonso behind him. Conforto's hitting 5th. We see Kevin Pillar in right field instead of Conforto, who is the DH today. Against the Astros, young right-hander Peter Solomon, who is on the mound for Houston today.
Peter did not pitch at all in the big leagues last year. There are his minor league numbers, which really the minor leagues were so devastated last year with the COVID. Only 7 2/3 innings. It's really was a hindrance to a lot of players trying to get up to the big leagues and advance in their craft. But here he is getting his first start of spring training, and a chance to show off his wares to Dusty Baker.
A chance for Brandon Nimmo in the leadoff spot today, where we fully expect to see him on April 1st when the Mets open their season in Washington. They will have fans at Nationals Park. Took a while for that announcement to come, but last night it did. They'll have a capacity of 5,000 people allowed in Nats Park to start the year. They were one of the last holdovers in making that preseason announcement.
So that's going to be a tough ticket to get. And that also includes, I'm sure, Wayne, the players' passes.
I would think so, yeah.
Yes, I would think so. Absolutely. So, you know.
Yeah, you keep it. No passing the ball around just yet. One ball, 2 strikes on Nimmo. Just missed the third base line there. Wide open on the left side of the infield with 3 men to the right of second base. Only Alex Bregman standing on the left side right now. Nimmo almost squirted that one fair.
And Nimmo having a very, very good spring training so far. 9 for 20 batting average. It's .450. Of course, his on-base percentage is over 500. It's .542 to be exact. And that's why he's in the leadoff spot.
Brandon Nimmo typically likes to get deep in the count. He'll often be in a 3-2 position at some point during his plate appearances. He's got it to 2-2 here against Solomon. Chili Davis looking on. Back in person this year is Chili. Nimmo fouls that one off his foot. He'll dance around for a moment.
All right, we can get the defense in here, folks. There's your we'll sneak it in right here. The Astros defense brought to you by Delta Airlines. Bregman, of course, is the starting third baseman. Brantley will be their starting left fielder. Jason Castro, excuse me, will be probably their starting catcher. Gurriel will be their first baseman. Altuve, the great hitter who had a tough year last year, will be their second baseman. Carlos Correa will be their shortstop. Center field looks like it's going to be Miles Straw and maybe Kyle Tucker in right. So there's some new parts to this Astro squad.
Kyle Tucker's been a prospect for a long time and had a good year last year, so he'll get his first real full season as a regular player for the Astros. So will Miles Straw in center. Curveball's in there. Strike 3 called to Nimmo.
Brandon thought it was a little high, too close to take. And it looks like Mr. Solomon has a little 12-6 slow curve that he likes to. That's a strike. Likes to drop on the back door on the outside corner to left-hand hitters. Kind of a sweeping hook. And this is my first opportunity to see Mr. Lindor play.
Well, here's an exciting player. It is going to be some kind of fun to watch Francisco Lindor play every day. He brings so much joy and enthusiasm to the ballpark every day, brings so much leadership to this Mets ball club already, even though he's been on the team for only a month. There's a lot to love about Lindor.
Well, he's got a body of work, too. He's got a resume. Change up right there. Okay, seeing all his pitches here. Mr. Solomon's got a little bit of everything.
Also an air of confidence to Lindor. He told Tom Verducci in Sports Illustrated that he thinks he's the best all-around shortstop in baseball. And that's a big title considering the shortstops in the game right now. High and tight, and it's 3-0. Trying to wipe the smile off Lindor's face there. It's not nice. Mr. Smile, Francisco Lindor. Still got it.
Mets got a lot of 3-0 hit signs last year. That's Luis Rojas giving the green light a lot on 3-0.
That one right on the edge of the outside corner. Lindor thought it may have been ball four. Still smiling, though. Ron Culpa, not so much behind home plate. You can smile too, Ron. There's ball four to Francisco Lindor. Keith, we see the accolades for Lindor, a four-time All-Star, 430 homer seasons with the Indians, a couple of Gold Gloves too. This guy has been an all-around tremendous player for the last handful of years, and he is just now really entering the prime of his career.
He can steal bases too. So a lot of speed at the top of the order for the Mets. I like the 1-2 punch, so to speak. Remember, we got into that hitting their best hitter in the 2-hole. Hopefully we've graduated from that. And you know, the theory behind that was the second place hitter gets more at bats with runners in scoring position, and they have statistics to back it up. But to me, when you're hitting second, you're not going to have that first at bat and a lot of opportunities to drive in a run.
Dominic Smith floats one toward left center. Michael Brantley trots over to make the catch. And there's 2 outs. You were saying earlier you like Dominic Smith where he is today in that 3 spot.
Well, I tell you what, there's so many options. I do love Alonso in the cleanup and Conforto in the 5-hole, protecting him left-handed as well. You can move, to me, you can flip-flop Smith and McNeil from 3 to 5. Whoever's hot, you can move him around. There's so many options in this lineup, and it's got great balance.
There are a lot of variables, a lot of interchangeability in this Mets lineup this year. It's hardly going to be set every day the same way. Alonso lays off a breaking ball. That's something they're trying to get him to do more and more of. Have a more watchful eye at the plate, not chase as much. Something Chili Davis is trying to pound into Pete's head this spring.
Well, it just got away from Pete last year, and I know everything speeds up when you struggle. I know he had a great finish the last, 2 weeks, 10 days of the season. But I think that he tried to cover too much of the plate last year. He started hard. They started pitching him in, and he started swinging that hard sinker from the right-handers off the plate inside, and then chasing the bad breaking ball. It's the same old story. Nothing's changed. It's up and in, low and away. And he can't allow the pitchers to expand the strike zone. And I like the way he's been swinging the bat this spring. I've said it before, even in the first year, he reminds me a lot of Harmon Killebrew in that a true cleanup hitter and power hitter. The 52 home runs is there to back that up.
Hey, look, Mr. October's here.
Reggie.
Craig Biggio right next to him. A couple of Hall of Famers. Biggio and Bagwell and even Reggie have been following the Astros around this spring. Alonso goes the other way. We've seen him do a lot of that this spring, and it falls in, getting by Souza and going to the wall. Lindor will be held at third. Alonso has a double, and the Mets with 2 in scoring position here in the first.
Well, I think Gary DiSarcino in the season sends Lindor. I think in spring training you want to stay away from injury, but this is what's been happening with Pete. When Pete uses the other field, now this ball is a laser beam down the right field line, and that's what I like, what I've been seeing from him. And it's not so much the right field corner, it's the right field gap, and he's taking a vicious cut, and if you make a mistake, you are going to be rubbing up a new baseball.
Now Michael Conforto stands in with a chance to drive in 2. First pitch curve in for a strike. Conforto's had a good spring after the breakout last year.
Started using the opposite field, got away from dead pulling, fell into that trap.
Goes the other way here, but it hangs for Brantley to retire the side. Mets threaten but don't score. They leave 2. After 1, it's 0-0. Francisco Lindor taking his position to the right of second base with big Yordan Alvarez leading off the top of the second. Lindor's got the pink sleeve today, got some pink accents on his mitt, freshening up the look midway through spring training. Alvarez goes after the first pitch. Davis and Smith are after it, and J.D. Davis ranged a long way to make that catch in foul ground.
Well, I think you're going to see Doms playing a lot of deep left field, because it's easier to come in on a ball than go back. And Dom is a first baseman, and a very accomplished first baseman. He's in a very foreign position for himself, working hard to improve his defense. But you just can't, miracles don't happen overnight. So it's going to put more stress, and I'm sure that the left side of the infield, Lindor and J.D. Davis, have been told on those specific kind of pop-ups in shallow left field, they're going to have to bust out there.
Same goes too, I think, for center. Brandon Nimmo has started to play a very deep center field as well to make up for the fact that he has trouble going back on balls. So we're seeing Smith deep in left, Nimmo deep in center. How does that affect a pitcher when maybe some of these bloopers are going to fall in?
Well, I'd rather have the ball in front because it's only a single. There's a ball getting over a head that could be a triple or a double, particularly men on base.
See Conforto playing a lot closer, or rather Pilar in right field today.
Yeah, Pilar likes to play shallow, and he's got that flag. If you notice the flag, it's blowing out to left field. It's a crosswind, and oh, that ball's a good pitch inside, just missed. The flag blowing out to left is kind of a crosswind in right field, and it tends to crosswind tends to knock the ball down. Pilar's very fearless out there in the outfield. He can run.
2-2 on Castro. Pilar can run, and he doesn't mind running into a wall either. As you mentioned, his fearlessness. He's known to go up, over, and even sometimes try to go through the outfield fence.
I've always liked him. He's never been a big hitter, but he's a hustler. He's a real gritty player, and he runs everything out. It's the kind of guy you want in your ball club.
Good changeup, but Castro fought it off.
There's James McCann right there behind the plate. Big pickups in the offseason, and I've been impressed with I'll be up to speed here. His pop-up time, and he's got a cannon for an arm.
The McCannon. He's got a nickname for the arm. That's how you know it's a good one.
He can throw.
Look at that. It's on a shirt.
He can throw, and he's accurate.
I've seen your mustache on some t-shirts. He's got the McCannon.
Very nice.
There's strike three. It was the back foot slider to wipe out Castro.
Well, with hitters with long swings like Castro, boy, it's hard when you got a pitcher throwing as hard as, there's the grip right there, the slider that's coming. You've got to start early when you have a long swing, and it makes you very, very vulnerable to a pitcher of this quality in Mr. DeGrom.
Souza whiffs on the slider. Souza trying to make the Astros team, just trying to stay healthy too. The last few years he really hasn't been.
It's been spot on with that slider.
There it is again. 0-2 on Souza.
They keep swinging at it out of the strike zone, keep throwing it.
Yep. Good luck to you, Stephen. Comes again.
We had one to waste. He's not happy with that one. He's a perfectionist. That's what separates. You know, the great ones are always perfectionists. They're never satisfied. You know, I've always said, Tom Seaver, I asked Tom one time when he had a great game, had it all working, how many bad pitches that he made mistakes. Oh boy.
Say goodnight to Steven Souza. That's strikeout number 4 for Jacob deGrom. 2 perfect innings under his belt today. Be at Citi Field for opening day and the biggest games in 2021 with the Mets ticket plan. Choose from full or partial season plans, all protected by Mets Ticket Assurance. Get yours at Mets.com/plans. Fans are out at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie.
Little pizza.
Good to see the kids back at the ballpark again.
Oh, big pizza.
Jeff McNeil takes ball 1 from Peter Solomon.
Come on, Jeff.
McNeil, a bit of a struggle this spring, 1 for 18. Got off to a slow start last season as well before turning it up toward the end. Ended up hitting .311.
He's the kind of guy that doesn't take a 1 for 18 too well, Jeff. Another perfectionist. I'm not the least bit worried about him. Looks like he got a little bit bulkier up in the shoulders and the biceps, triceps.
He says he likes to come into camp a little bit bigger.
Well, he's been very durable. You know, he had a lot of issues injury-wise in the minor leagues coming up. You know, sometimes you flush those injuries out in the minors and you never get hurt in the big league level. Let's hope that's the case for Jeff. And so far, he's been very durable and very versatile. It's got a little more of an uppercut, and I think that is a little bit of the residue from Kevin Long when he was the hitting coach here, who was succeeded by Chili Davis right there, who is back in the dugout after missing all of last year, and Chili focusing more on using gaps, gap to gaps and line drives. That's the kind of hitter that Chili was, and a fine switch hitter. But Jeff, that second half of the year when he hit the home runs, what was it, he hit 17 in that second half?
Yeah.
He altered his swing a little bit, got a little more of an uppercut, but he is a very focused hitter. Very good concentration at the plate.
Tough to strike out too. I don't know if he's Luis Guillorme tough, but McNeil will foul pitches off, put the ball in play. He strikes out here. Kind of chased a little bit on a breaking ball that was up and away from Solomon, who has his second strikeout.
Well, Jeff just hasn't found it yet. That's all there is to it. What is it? 1 for 19 now. That says it all. He chased that breaking ball, and he's got 2 weeks to get his act together. Plenty of time to find the rhythm. You don't want to waste them down here. They don't count.
That's right. 1 for 19 this spring now for McNeil.
Yeah.
As
you know, you want to get hot the last week. Last week of spring training, you want to start feeling it. Whether you get base hits or not, it's just how you feel at the plate, how you're swinging the bat. If you feel like you're in the groove, then you're ready to go right into the season.
Here's J.D. Davis. Looks at a breaking ball for ball 1. Davis fell off a little bit last year from where he had been in 2019. Such a strange year. Keith, I'd like to know how you would have handled last season. What would it have been like for you as a player to go through what last year was?
Well, the closest thing that I can tell you is the strike year. What was it, 81?
Yeah.
At that point, it was the longest strike in professional sports history. And I didn't do anything in between. Marvin Miller told us not to work out, to be honest with you. Then that would put pressure on management to go, well, wait a minute, but while we're negotiating him, our players are getting out of shape. And I didn't touch a bat or a glove the whole time. How many days was that strike? It's
a couple months.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I wound up hitting 300 in the second half. And boy, it's a long time ago, 81, isn't it?
What, before I was born, Keith?
Is that 40? Is that 40 years ago?
Yes, it is.
Oh gosh. So it's hard to remember exactly how I was physically. I didn't run or do anything, Wayne, and I just went back into the season, and I guess I did okay.
Well, good job. Had a good year the next year too. 82.
I did.
Won a World Series.
I did. And then 83, I wind up in the orange and blue.
Davis late on the fastball upstairs and a full count.
Greeted in Montreal by Dave Kingman, shaking my hand, saying, big smile on his face, and Dave never had any expressions on his face. Glad you're here. You're my ticket out of here. That was my first welcome. Then Tom Seaver comes over and says, welcome to the Stems. I go, Stems? He goes, yeah, Mets spelled backwards.
J.D. Davis couldn't catch up to a couple of fastballs up in the zone, and Solomon has back-to-back strikeouts here in the second.
Up and in. It's a nemesis of J.D. Davis. Up and in is a pitch that he has a blind spot.
James McCann, the batter now. We saw his twins earlier. We found those kids wearing those McCannon shirts. Those were James's twins. There they are.
Yeah.
Watching Dad dropping their chips.
Making a mess.
Making a mess.
Don't do it at home. McCann with a very open stance, but it's all about watch him close his front foot when he attacks the hitter. It starts his stride.
He's looking for right and right center field. That's where he likes to go.
Very big legs, strong, lower half. You know, a lot of guys I found out was, you know, you all have a dominant eye. So if you're a right-hand hitter and your dominant eye is your left eye, you don't have to have an open stance. If your dominant eye is your back eye, your right eye, your right-hand hitter, those are the hitters that have more of the, tend to be more open in their stance, so they have the face facing the pitcher, and that dominant eye has more direct vision to the pitcher.
Good inning for Peter Solomon. He strikes out the side. Jacob deGrom back on the mound to start the third. Jacob deGrom continues his impressive spring. So far, 6 batters, 4 strikeouts. He's only allowed 1 hit in 7 innings this spring, with 14 strikeouts so far in these spring training games. They've all been against the Astros.
And 1 walk, and the 1 walk and 1 hit came in his first outing.
Now, the last 2 outings, a combined 5 perfect innings with 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's got a nice little streak going.
Here's Taylor Jones. Goes after the first pitch. Probably the best bet against DeGrom. Kevin Pillar runs off Nimmo and makes the catch for out number 1.
It's interesting how we can hear the cleats on the, it's like Captain Crunch cereal. Particularly on our on-deck circle, I should say the Mets side. That's where our microphone. Oh, there's microphones on both sides, so we can hear that. There it is.
This is Jeremy Pena with a high drive to left. Dominic Smith back near the wall, and Smith reaching up. The ball goes off his glove and over the fence for a home run.
Well, Dom ran out of room, and that is probably a little wind blown right there, with the wind blowing out to left field. High fly ball carried out. And there breaks your scoreless streak.
Jeremy Pena, one of the top prospects in the Astros system, just hit it high and long enough. Seemed like Dominic Smith didn't really realize how close he was to the wall.
Well, he got this ball up. He meant to get it away. Dom just runs out of room.
Now it's Freudis Nova at the plate. No, we actually hit the top of the wall and went over.
Yep, it sure did. And that was a little wind aided right there.
We mentioned it earlier, that wind blowing from right to left.
Well, Mr. Pena has a little notch in his belt. I don't think he doesn't feel good about that off the best pitcher in the game.
Second generation player. His dad, Geronimo Pena, was a big league infielder for a number of years.
I hit a home run off of in Miami when the Orioles were there off Jim Palmer, and I remember how it was wind aided to left field, and I remember how running around the base just saying I hit a home run off Jim Palmer.
Well, back to the regular programming for Jacob deGrom. He strikes out Freudis Nova.
That's right. Don't touch that dial. Nothing wrong with your television.
Fifth strikeout for deGrom. Just a blip on the radar with Jeremy Pena lifting that home run just far enough. Jose Siri at the plate now. Gotta make sure your phone's off when you say Siri out loud.
So what do you do if you change? Because you can change the voice. You can have an Irish accent, an English accent, a male,
call it
female.
Call it O Siri if they go with the Irish accent.
So what do you do with Alexa if you choose to have a Irish brogue male talking to you?
I don't know. Call him Murphy. We'll save our St. Patrick's Day conversation for tomorrow, Keith. Jacob deGrom has 6 strikeouts, but he did give up a home run here in the top of the third to Jeremy Pena. Well, a teachable moment for Luis Rojas to talk to Dominic Smith about his play in the outfield and going back on balls to the wall.
Oh, Dom's always smiling. Dom kind of drifted on that ball. It was a high fly ball, and it's, I mean, look at the flag. The wind's blowing, but you got to know the direction of the wind. Always pick up blades of grass before the game starts and throw it up in the air and see where that wind's blowing.
Kevin Pillar takes ball 2 upstairs. You see Pillar's numbers from last year, a good offensive season. He's carried it over into spring. One of the new Mets, and there are many. You know, the 40-man roster is basically half new. Pillar, a very good defensive outfielder, even though the metrics have fallen off for him a bit the last couple of years. You still feel like he is, on this ball club especially, one of the better defensive outfielders they have, he and Albert Almora.
I don't think he's lost a step or a half step. He's not 36, 37 years old. I think you can still go get him. It's hard. The defensive metrics are, I think, are a little bit iffy. It's kind of hard to put your finger on it and make a determined valuation on a player defensively with the analytics.
Yeah, they're getting better, but still
yes,
not quite where the rest of it is. Ball 4 to Pillar. It's a leadoff walk. We take a look around the majors, brought to you by Citi. Some new managers, new in quotes. Tony La Russa is 76 years old, and he is managing the White Sox again for the first time since the mid-'80s. Tony La Russa is back in that White Sox uniform. A.J. Hinch has returned after being disgraced in Houston, and same for Alex Cora, although back with the team that he was with, the Boston Red Sox. So new managers in a sense, but La Russa, Hinch, and Cora all getting opportunities once again.
Well, you got to believe that with La Russa's case, he's been around a long time. So is Jerry Reinsdorf, been the owner of the White Sox forever. Probably a great working relationship, a great friendship. And I think the Red Sox like what they had and Joey Cora.
They sure did. The Red Sox had some great years with Alex Cora as their manager in 2018 and 19. Brandon Nimmo skies one on the infield. Jeremy Pena, the shortstop, fights the sun. Now will make the call and the catch.
Jeez. Put a 10 over that. Circle the wagons.
Well, he caught it. Bright blue sky today.
It's been warm down here the last few days. It's really heated up.
86 on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah,
there it is.
It's been beautiful.
Who was the oldest manager you played for?
Oh, Red Shandies.
How old was he about when you played for him?
Oh gosh, Red managed from the beginning of my career. His last year, I helped get him fired. I had a terrible year in '76, terrible first half. He didn't survive the '76 season. He was let go. And then Vern Rapp came in '77, which was a surprise pick by Gussie Busch. Going to bring in the old Marine Corps sergeant from the Cincinnati Red organization. Red went over to the Oakland A's and coached over with the Oakland A's for a year or two, and then Ken Boyer brought him back when Ken Boyer took the helm when they fired Vern Rapp.
Lindor up the middle. That's a base hit. Kevin Pillar advances to second. Francisco Lindor has been on base twice today.
Stays on top of the high fastball. Belts high, level swing.
Peter Solomon's day is about to be over. Dusty Baker, sporting the tie-dye, is taking his pitcher out of the game. New pitcher for the Astros. We'll tell you about him, Nivaldo Rodriguez, when we come back. Bottom of the third, first pitching change of the day as the Astros have brought in Nivaldo Rodriguez to face Dominic Smith with a couple of guys on base.
Had 5 appearances last season for the Astros in relief. Gave up a lot of base hits and a lot of walks.
Supposed to have a good curveball, and he showcased it there against Dominic Smith for a strike that Dom didn't seem to like. He's giving it to Ron Culpa a little bit.
Another similar kind of breaking ball. Got to focus, get in the box now. That pitch is over with.
High drive to right center off the bat of Dom. Series going back for it. He's at the wall, and it's gone. A home run for Dominic Smith. He shook off that first pitch pretty well. He cranks a 3-run homer on the second, and the Mets have the lead. It's 3-1.
Well, Dom's an excellent breaking ball hitter, and that is the lazy curve, 12 to 6 curve, and Dom just waits on it nicely, and that didn't get much aid from the wind. That's what, 3/4 of the way up that backdrop there.
Second home run this spring for Dom. Here's Pete. Whiffed on the breaking ball.
Well, that puts a crimp into Peter Solomon right there, and 2 of those 3 runs are charged to him.
Thanks a lot, Nivaldo.
Inherited runners.
Now what the Astros want to see, they hope Rodriguez has a chance to make the team this year.
Well, last year in 8 2/3, he gave up 15 hits and 6 walks. That is a whip of 2.423. That's a big ouch.
Venezuelan right-hander. He had good numbers in the minor leagues throughout his career.
Oh, a little chin. Little chin music. Well, he only got as high as A ball with the Astros in the farm system. Gary, 2009. Gary.
I know you've had a run of Garys here. You had the regular Gary, and then you had Gary Apple.
Excuse me.
It's okay.
So he went from A ball, Midwest League, all the way 5 years in the minors up to the major leagues. That's quite a jump.
We did see last year a lot of guys make that similar jump. He was by far not the only one. It had to be a record for players going from technically single A to the majors last season without a true minor league year.
There wasn't minor leagues last year, but I'm seeing here the 2000. Oh, that's right. My mistake. So we had limited action last year, like so many minor leaguers. Only 8 innings pitched.
Spent time at the Astros alternate site, which I believe was at Round Rock. 3-2 on Alonso. Astros will have a new AAA affiliate this year. They have got the Sugarland Skeeters. I'm sure Nivaldo Rodriguez will have some time. There's Big Dust. Good question by our guys in the truck. Do you think Dusty's still got the toothpick underneath the mask? I would say yes. Ball 4 to Alonso, a breaking ball that just stayed up. Second walk of the inning, first from Rodriguez.
Well, you remember in Some Like It Hot, the movie with Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis?
Sure.
George Raft. There was a gangster character in that movie called Toothpick Charlie.
Who played Toothpick Charlie?
It was some little bit actor, character actor, I can't remember.
Guy named George Stone, it says here.
Oh, really?
That's what it says. So Google told me.
You're quick.
George Stone was from Liechtenstein.
Really?
Yeah. No, his name was Liechtenstein, and his name was not Stone. It was Liechtenstein. He's from Poland. So there you go.
Are you fact checking me, Wayne?
No, just keeping it current. Into the air to deep right. Souza had to go back pretty far for this one. It still has room to retire Conforto. Two outs, and McNeil will bat. Mike gets his own bat. Beat the bat boy. Well, bat boy, that's like a Batman back there with Michael Conforto. 2 words, bat man, not the real superhero. Here's McNeil. This is Pena picking up the slow roller, retiring McNeil to end the inning. But Dominic Smith gives the Mets the lead with a 3-run homer to put them up 3-1. Jeremy Pena's wind-aided homer, the only blemish for DeGrom in 3 innings. He has 6 strikeouts. Ball 1 to Michael Brantley. But Keith, it certainly seems that DeGrom is well on his way to being ready for the opener of the season.
I think they'll probably stretch him out to 5 innings today. I'm sure it's strictly a pitch count, but if he continues just to pour in strikes like this, I'm sure they'll get 5 out of him.
Been pretty efficient so far. Only 36 pitches into the 4th inning here. Brantley goes the other way. Davis with a diving stop. Gets up from his knee, but has no play to first. Brantley able to leg that out. Davis got a little bit twisted up after that dive, and hopefully he's okay.
What did he do? Did he fall on his wrist? Did he jam his wrist there, the right wrist, a little bit? That seems to be the one he shake. No, it's his left.
I think it was the left wrist kind of rolled underneath him when he fielded that ball, kind of hooked underneath his body, and now he's going to get a look at here.
Yeah, it's the glove hand. Yes, it bent, it hyperextended inward. You see the glove got curled under his body.
There's that left wrist that is being looked at by Mets training staff at the moment.
There it is right there. A little bit of a, there it goes. So a little hyperextension there. I don't know if that's the correct medical term.
Joe Golia is the trainer on the field. This is okay. JD's shaking that left wrist out. He's going to stay in the game. It's an infield hit for Brantley. Now Alex Bregman will be the batter. Bregman has reportedly added about 25 pounds.
Really?
Doesn't necessarily look like it. He's pretty lean guy, though. Said he wanted to get a little bit stronger, and
so you got to be careful when you put on a little extra weight. Do you lose speed? That's part of the game too. There's other aspects to the offense outside of just swinging the lumber.
Well, he's certainly been able to do that so far in his career. Last year notwithstanding, this has been an A+ player. Alex Bregman was an MVP runner-up a few years ago. .283 lifetime hitters. Numbers there that tell you part of the story for Alex Bregman.
Two-time All-Star in 18 and 19. Finished second in the most valuable player voting in 2019.
What a year that was for Bregman. 41 homers, 112 RBIs, 119 walks.
That led the American League.
Scored 122 runs that year.
Yep. That's a nice ballpark to hit into. That ball's hit pretty good.
Into the gap in right center. Nimmo gives it a chase up near the wall. Nimmo makes the catch. Brantley heads back to first, but Brandon Nimmo showing a chance to go back on a ball in the gap in right center up against the wall. Takes extra bases away from Bregman.
Well, we mentioned earlier there, that ball's hit right where it's pitched by Bregman here. And that ball's probably out in the Astrodome, not the Astrodome, Houston's ballpark. He robbed him of a home run there. Brandon can cover left to right, gap to gap. It's the ball, it's coming forward and going back that are his issues.
Now Yordan Alvarez will be the batter. That deeper center field paying dividends for Nimmo there as Alvarez takes a strike.
Very deep outfield. You see that from the start. He can cover the gaps. And that ball was out there if he doesn't make that play. He doesn't get there.
Time called right before DeGrom was about to let that one go. Alvarez bounces it foul. You see DeGrom wearing that mesh back to his cap. Some of the players have the mesh backing on the hat and some don't. Kind of two different styles of hats this spring. There's Alonso without. Pilar with. Bringing you some spring training fashion today, Keith.
Also the Seaver on the left shoulder. Right there, you can see on DeGrom's right shoulder, I should say.
Alvarez hits it hard. Pilar comes in. He slides to make the catch. The Mets outfield defense looking good here in the top of the fourth. Nimmo Bregman of extra bases, maybe a homer, and now Pilar takes a base hit from Alvarez.
Well, two hard hit balls in a row off of DeGrom here. That's a routine play for Pilar.
Ball one to Jason Castro.
Hey, Will. How's it going? All right.
Tell you what, with our microphones down there on by the on-deck circles, if you're trying to sneak up on someone, you haven't got a chance.
We need the sights and sounds of the game. It's 2-0 on Jason Castro. Fouled back. Castro will likely split the catching duties with Martin Maldonado. I think Maldonado will get most of the starts, but Castro will get his fair share certainly. Speaking of spring training fashion, look at Dusty with the tie-dye mask. Got a little of that tequila sunrise look on the stripes down the Astros jerseys and on the cap. The Astros were very colorful during your playing days. Not so much anymore, but
I never liked that uniform, that orange uniform that they had. I thought it was awful with the swirly stripes. Going kind of horizontally.
Yeah, just like kind of on the side of the jersey now. That's kind of a nod to that look. Just not as in your face as those were back then.
I liked it when they were the Colt 45s, and I know that's not in vogue. Well, that, wow. I think I would pass that one up on the rack.
Looks like kind of like a soccer jersey.
The old Colt 45 uniforms, if you remember, when they first came up, they had the Colt 45 pistol with the smoking gun going across their chest.
Castro pops it up. DeGrom gets called out of the way. It's Francisco Lindor to retire the side. Scoreless inning for DeGrom. There's an old look at those Astros jerseys.
Hideous.
Doug and Keith discuss Pete Alonso's strong spring, plus predictions on how things will play out at third base on the latest episode of the Say Anything podcast. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Keith, how do you enjoy being a podcaster?
It's fine. It's pretty simple. You're in your house. You're sitting in your chair. It's no effort. It's just like, you know, they ask questions and we talk of baseball. It's a easy half hour, 40 minutes.
You ever think you'd be a podcaster one day?
Well, no. I don't think a lot of people ever thought they'd be podcasters.
J.D. Davis swings and misses at the first pitch from Nivaldo Rodriguez.
It almost sounds like science fiction, doesn't it?
I guess it could.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're very modern. You're in the podcast world. Say Anything. 0-2 on Davis. Jacob deGrom is probably done. 50 pitches, 4 innings, 6 strikeouts. Gave up the home run to Pena. Familia's up in the Mets bullpen, so it looks like deGrom's going to be finished here. That's ripped. Rodriguez got a glove on it. Has time to get the out. Nivaldo Rodriguez lucky that that line drive hit all leather.
Number 33,
Oh boy.
Oh.
That would have had, if they didn't get his glove there, it had some body.
I have no idea how he even did that. That ball was scolded by JD. Now James McCann will bat. He struck out his first time against Peter Solomon. I'm sure you faced your fair share of hard hit line drives at first base.
Yes, I have. No, deGrom is done. Looks like.
Oh, and 2 on McCann. McCann, one of the prize pickups for the Mets in the offseason. 30-year-old catcher. Caught a no-hitter last year for Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. Kevin Pillar will follow here in the bottom of the 4th. McCann's really come into his own offensively just the last couple of seasons. Kind of a defensive first catcher. Goes the other way here to loop a base hit to right. Says he still appreciates and attempts to be the best defensive catcher he can be before thinking about offense, but he goes the other way pretty efficiently. One of McCann's kids here at the ballpark today cheering on Dad. And here's Kevin Pillar. Pillar walked and scored in the 3rd. Came home on Dominic Smith's home run. Pillar was a Blue Jays draft pick in 2011. Was actually a minor league teammate of Noah Syndergaard's in 2012. They were Lansing Lugnuts together. The Lugnuts play in the Midwest League. Well, they did. Now the minor league names and divisions and all that are a lot different. Pillar strikes out against Rodriguez. 2 down.
Number 9, center fielder, Brendan Yellow.
Brandon Nimmo's 0 for 2, fly to center his last time. He's had a really good spring offensively so far. Saw him make a nice catch in the top of the 4th, robbing Bregman of a base hit. Brandon Nimmo will play most days. I think it still remains to be seen if he's in there against left-handers. That seems like a natural opportunity to give Kevin Pillar or Albert Almora some playing time when a lefty is starting. Nimmo's worked a lot this offseason to better his approach against left-handed pitching. Had a phone call recently with Todd Helton about it. Helton, a hero of Nimmo's, growing up a Rockies fan.
Well, he hit on the interstate against left-handers last year, and the breaking ball gave him a little bit of trouble later in the season.
This is in the air for Siri. Has some room to spare just before the warning track to retire Nimmo, and in the inning. After 4, Jacob deGrom, his day is done. We'll see Jerry's Familia.
Hits the air tonight here in Port St. Lucie. It's a gorgeous night for baseball. The Mets playing the Atlanta Braves, and Keith, what a great way to start.
Well, it's a wonderful way to start with the arch rival Braves, of course. That's always makes for interesting Met play. So it's a beautiful night, as you said. I'm looking forward to the ball game. Looking forward to the season.
Keith, happy anniversary. Today, 15 years ago, you just saw March 16th, 2006. The very first SNY Mets broadcast with you and Gary Cohen.
No hair dye, no mustache dye, no gray. Jeez, it's amazing. 15 years. And I tell you what, most of this camera crew, these New York camera crew, they've been with us this long and longer.
I think March 16th should be GKR Day moving forward. Jerry's Familia on the mound. Steven Souza fouls it back for strike 1. Familia with a 3.71 ERA last year. Walks, though, Keith, were still an issue for Familia last season.
Yeah, he was a little erratic. He lost a lot of weight last year. He's kept the weight off this year. It's a big plus. But he's got that motion. They've tried to smooth out his motion, and it just makes it, while it makes him hard to pick up, it also makes it very hard for him to be consistent with his pitches and location. I mean, he's a big, strong guy.
It's going to be relied upon pretty heavily, especially with Seth Lugo out for the beginning of the season. Familia and Dellin Betances are going to get some key innings for Luis Rojas. Edwin Diaz will close. They've got Trevor May now and Aaron Loop.
I think Edwin Diaz is over the hump, to be honest with you.
I would agree. Broken back ground ball for Davis. A strong arm for the first out. Pete Alonso joins the gang. Here his thoughts on the season ahead, plus interesting stories heard and told around first base on an all-new episode of the Cookie Club with JD and Dom and Steve Gelbs, presented by Insomnia Cookies. Check it out now on SNY.TV. It's the most interesting story you ever told or heard around first base that we can broadcast.
Oh gosh, they all run into each other. A lot of the players in my day, though, Wayne, were old school and didn't talk. So
less fraternizing back then.
Yeah, yes, and it was starting. You know, it wasn't as bad as it was in the 40s and 50s, but a lot of the players that were veterans when I came up had broke in the 60s, and you know, particularly the Dodgers. They weren't chatterboxes at all, and you know, I was a talker. I mean, Rick Monday told me after I'd long been retired, and I ran into him at Dodger Stadium. Rick does the radio for the Dodgers, and he told me we'd all get on the airplane and we'd get ready to land in St. Louis or New York, and we'd go, okay guys, we have to hit doubles this series because Keith's at first base.
There's a big league first baseman. He was pretty good too. Jeff Bagwell in the ballpark today.
Hall of Famer. Looks like he's still in good shape. So looks like he's working out.
That's the Hall of Fame suite. Biggio and Reggie Jackson are over there. We spotted Enos Cabell earlier in that suite as well.
Yes.
Here's the numbers on Bagwell. 449 home runs, helping him get to Cooperstown.
Gold Glove mixed in there too.
He was a fierce hitter, had a very squatty batting stance.
Yes, he sat down on his legs, that's for sure. And there's ball 4.
Taylor Jones draws a walk.
Number 89, shortstop, Jeremy Pena.
Jeremy Pena hit a home run off of Jacob deGrom, the only run that deGrom has allowed so far in 3 spring starts. Pena's a guy who might be the heir apparent to Carlos Correa at shortstop for the Astros if Correa does leave for free agency once this season is over. He's one of that big crop of free agent shortstops. Pena, I mentioned earlier his dad, Geronimo Pena. He went to the University of Maine, a Maine Black Bear.
It's not a lot of summer up there to play baseball.
No. He's actually the highest drafted position player they've ever had at the University of Maine. But it'll be interesting to see where Correa ends up. Corey Seager, Lindor, Javier Baez. There's so many shortstops that could find different homes within the next year. And they're going to get paid too, including Mr. Lindor. Question is for the Mets, will it be him or somebody else? Two balls and a strike now on Pena. Trevor Story, another good one that's available. If I necessarily include Marcus Semien in that group with the rest of them, but
I got to think that Seager's going to stay put. The Dodgers are going to pay him. The Dodgers have the Bank of Monte Carlo there behind them.
in the same token, you got to feel like after the Rockies just unloaded Arenado for basically nothing, that they probably won't pay Trevor Story either. Ball 4 to Pena, so that's back-to-back walks for Familia, something we've certainly seen time and time again with Jerry's just having trouble with the strike zone.
And this is what's problematic about Jay Reese, is that to me he's a reliever that has to start an inning. You don't want to bring Jay Reese in, although he's perfectly capable of pitching out of jams, but bring him in cold with runners in scoring position. It's just the fact that he is, you know, he doesn't throw strikes enough. He's a guy that's got to start an inning.
Dor went over to talk to Familia as well. You used to do that a lot, Keith. You were on the mound a lot, for especially for a first base.
I was over there probably too much, but showing some leadership there, words of encouragement, I'm sure.
Do you think it helped when you went over?
Some guys loved it, and very few didn't. I know that my colleague Ron Darling, I just left him alone. Ronnie didn't like it, and I didn't want to get in his way. That's just the way Ronnie pitched, and I didn't want to in any way be a distraction to him. Roger McDowell loved it.
Open hole on the right side of the infield as Nova gets a base hit. Jones will be held at third. Bases loaded for the Astros.
Number 99, center fielder, Jose Siri.
Well, just going the other way on a pitch outside. Big hole there. And Pilar playing that shallow right field. No chance to score. But the two walks have gotten Familia in trouble back to back.
Now it's back to the top of the order. Jose Siri struck out twice against DeGrom, so he's probably glad to see someone else in there. Broken bat pop-up. McNeil makes the catch. Infield fly rule was put into effect. So 2 outs. Big out there for Familia. Now he'll have to deal with Michael Brantley.
He's broken 2 bats in this inning so far. That hard sinker into on the hands of the right-hander. Got Souza the first time up on a ground ball to third base off the broken bat, and now Siri got sawed off.
Brantley 1 for 2, singled his last time. Routinely a 300 hitter. His career average 297. Hit exactly 300 on the nose last year, and then had a very good playoff for Houston as well. He's dangerous in these spots with men in scoring position. First pitch strike, and a good one there from Familia. Brantley asks for time. Got a 2-year contract to come back to Houston as a free agent. The busiest offseason really for the Astros. They signed Jake Odorizzi to join their starting rotation just a couple of weeks ago. Still a lot of firepower for Dusty Baker and his team. They're going to have to rely on some younger players, as we mentioned earlier. Kyle Tucker and Miles Straw should be big league regulars this year. Michael Brantley is tried and true in the middle of the Houston order. A chance here with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Popped him up. Shallow left center for Brandon Nimmo. Jarius Familia walked 2, gave up a base hit to load the bases, but he gets out of it. A scoreless 5th for Familia. Follow SNY on SNY.TV, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for a continuous stream of all the latest developments from spring training, with behind-the-scenes video and live updates straight from Port St. Lucie. That's where we are today for the Mets and the Astros. The pitcher for Houston is young right-hander Jairo Solis.
There's his 2018 numbers in the minors. And a tall, slender kid.
He's not pitched in a pro game since 2018. He has had some major elbow problems the last couple of years. Pumps in a strike to Francisco Lindor. Even so, you see 96 there from Solis. He's a young arm that the Astros like a lot.
Got a little shift on the infield there to the right on Lindor.
Something that Lindor is not a fan of, whether he's hitting or in the field even. He says he does not like being positioned to the right of second base. He doesn't believe in the shift. He wants it out.
You just met a friend of mine. You just made me a friend. Francisco, your aces in my book.
In one level of the minor leagues, it's the AA level. Infielders this year will have to keep at least both of their feet on the dirt. They can shift over, but they cannot be in the outfield at all. And there is a possibility that does extend to a shift elimination later in the year at AA this year. So they're tinkering with it. Ball 1 to Lindor. One rule I don't like they're changing in the minor leagues this year is that they're making the bases bigger at AAA.
I don't understand that. It's more base. It'll be more bases. Third and first base will be more in play.
This one routine for Jose Siri, the center fielder, to retire Lindor.
I mean, people have been running over bases for over, what, how many 100+ years?
Yeah, a lot longer than that.
I mean, I don't understand. Has it all of a sudden become, is it attention deficit disorder when you're running the bases? I don't know.
Also, by making the bases larger, you're taking away 90 feet. It's not 90 feet anymore.
That's a good point.
It's going to be like 89 feet and like 8 inches.
Unless they move it back, they keep the same facing that faces home plate in that's where it is, the boundary, and they move the base further back.
I don't think that's
towards right field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the plan.
I don't think so either. It does shorten it.
Right, which is garbage. Baseball's 90 feet. That's it.
Exactly. And how many boom plays now? A hitter's going to beat it out.
The perfection of 90 feet, when you think about the history of the game, and how many times a player is thrown out at first by a half step or a quarter step or a tie, it's all because of 90 feet being the perfect distance. And now at AAA, at least this year, won't be.
Well, gosh, they go to school for that? Do they go to postgraduate school or just undergraduate?
Who's that?
These guys that are thinking this stuff up.
I don't know. Supposedly Theo Epstein is on the new committee for some of this stuff. Raul Ibanez.
Exploratory.
I think Michael Hill as well, the former Marlins GM.
Well, they can test it out in the minors. We'll see which way it goes.
Some of the new rules as well in the minor leagues at various levels this year include a pickoff attempt rule in low A, only 2 pickoff attempts per plate appearance.
Don't like that.
At low A Southeast, they'll have a robot home plate umpire, which we saw the automatic ball strike system, which was in the independent leagues last year. There's a new pitch clock in low A West. Do you like any of these, Keith? The shift, I guess.
15 pitch count, that seems a little quick. That's just a lot of nitpicking. I do not like the pickoff attempts because suppose you got a speedster out there and you've thrown over twice and he knows you're not coming over again.
You do.
I just, come on.
You will get a third, but he's got to be thrown out or it's a balk. Nice play by Taylor Jones going down to his knees to retire Dom.
He's got to be thrown out or it's a balk.
For the third attempt, yes.
Well, how many times? What's the percentage of the balk call going to be then? I don't know. It's just ways they want to speed up the game, and I really wonder about the sincerity of MLB wanting to speed up the game.
What do you mean?
I just think there's a lot of revenue to be had during a game. I think they've done their cost-benefit analysis of how long games that people can take. And for me, when you have we had a 3-2 game the other day and it went 3 hours, that's, just mind-boggling. And it's not under 3 hours. When back in the older days, there was not what the ballparks weren't what they are today. It's like a county fair. There's all kinds of things you can buy. And as far as clothing, apparel, different types of cuisine, there's a whole lot more going on. Before it was that I remember ownership would say, we make no money in parking and we make no money in concessions. That's not true today.
Lots of money in concessions and merchandise too. All the stores inside the ballparks. Alonso hammers one toward the left field corner. That ball is deep and it's gone. A home run for Pete Alonso. He continues to crush the baseball this spring. A double and a homer today as the Mets now lead 4-1.
Well, this one is impressive. Why? When me show you. I will tell you. High fastball. Watch him get on top. Look at that. Nice. Letter high. A lot of guys today with that uppercut swing, they swing through it. Not Pito. Bam Bam.
Two strikes on Conforto. Good fastball again from Solis. It's been a big development this spring to see Pete Alonso looking a lot more locked in than he ever did. Remember last spring he didn't even hit a home run before the shutdown. Still, he was starting to look a little bit off even at the beginning of last spring training.
Well, there's a contact. Now, I talk about the level swing. Look at that. Is letter high, and that is a pitch that hitters today with the elevated swing don't get on top of and have a hard time with. Pete had a slight uppercut. That pitch is a mistake, a ball upstairs, and should be pounded like Pete just did. But with the big uppercut swings today, it's a pitch with a little mustard on it that it's problematic for today's hitters.
The Astros have really taken advantage of that the last few years. They really remade Garrett Cole with those high fastballs. Verlander.
And I'm not saying every hitter, but I'm saying the majority.
The ball was up too. Conforto fouls it off. Hard on the ground into the shift. Still going to be a tough play, and now no play for Freudis Nova after he mishandled that grounder off the bat of Conforto. Should be a base hit as Michael gets on with 2 outs.
That'll be a base hit. Kind of went after this ball in the outfield tentatively. And again, you're getting a ball, you know, outfielders, the ball kind of came up a little bit. The outfielders are used to fielding balls off the grass. Infielders aren't.
That's something J.D. Davis has had to contend with when he's been moved over into the shift, playing in shallow right field, and all of a sudden he's got to catch these ground balls and make the throw from a different angle than third base. Here's McNeil. Hard but foul. Well, Jacob deGrom will be live on SNY social media in just a moment. Get on your phone, tablet, or computer to hear Jake's thoughts in real time about his spring training start today. Next time deGrom pitches will be against Washington. The Mets are not going to hold him back, even though the Nationals are the first opponent of the regular season. deGrom will make that start on March 21st. Line drive, but right to the center fielder. Up to get it. Jose Siri made that more acrobatic than need be as the 5th inning comes to an end, but Pete Alonso extended the Mets lead. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Mets may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. Plenty of beach options along the east coast of Florida here. As Alex Bregman takes a first pitch breaking ball that missed from Dellin Betances, the new Mets pitcher.
Well, Betances, of course, had what, 2 years ago, the Achilles injury, and that's a tough injury, particularly a guy of his size. I mean, he's a big monster, a lot of weight, and he's in shape. but you know, he's 6'8", big guy. It's a lot of stress on that Achilles tendon that he tore. And the older you get, you don't bounce back like you used to.
The thing for Betances is now that his velocity is not what it was, can he still get outs with regularity? Or does he need that big fastball to do it? The curveball there, that still looks like a sharp pitch for him. And the lat injury in 2019, then the Achilles, and last year the lat injury that came up but that he didn't disclose immediately to the Mets.
And Bregman choking up.
Pops this one up. Albert Almora is the new left fielder for the Mets. He gives way to Nimmo, and there's one out. A regular season game, when Almora checks in, I would imagine he'd go to center and Nimmo would play left, but
well, Almora has been sparkling with the glove, and we kind of knew that. He's a fine fielder.
I like those shades he's got.
It's a battle between, depending on how many, you know, we talked about this earlier, Wayne, how many relievers they're going to carry north. Are they going to carry an extra bench guy? I mean, right now, if they go, what was it, with 9 relievers, was it 9?
Yes, I think the debate right now is whether to take 8 or 9.
So if you take 9, then it's a battle between Almora and Pilar, and I think Almora has the option left.
Yes,
which would make a disadvantage for him. But I'm of the feeling that if this ball club has some issues defensively where it's a close game late and they're going to make some moves in game, late in the game, defensively.
This one headed for Almora. Surrounds it and catches it for the second out.
If you're going to make some changes defensively, I think you need the extra man on the bench. And because, you know, you can run out. This, as far as third base is concerned, we've had McNeil, who had the 3 errors earlier in spring at third base. He is not seeing third base again, only in an emergency. He's going to be the second baseman. You had Villar go over to third base, and he made a couple of errors. Guillorme played a sparkling third base the last game I had. 2 beautiful backhands, deep and strong throw across the infield. So Guillorme, I think, has really come into his own. He's lost a lot of weight now. This is 2 years in a row he's kept the weight off. He's come a long way. He's pulling more as a hitter, become a better hitter. He's more comfortable in the big leagues. He can play the second base, short, and third base, which is of enormous value if you're a backup infielder. He's really come a long way, and I think that, to me, what I've seen so far in spring, if you're going to make a defensive change at third base, it's going to be Guillorme going in.
And he's the backup shortstop as well for Lindor. He's on this team no matter what. 2 balls and a strike on Jason Castro. Luis Guillorme has solidified himself as a major league player. Question, I think, is, do you, if you are short a bench player, you have to pick 2 out of the 3 when it comes to Almora, Pilar, and Villar.
Well, the problem too is if you're going, the new trend has been not, you used to carry 3 catchers. Right. Your backup catcher, one was a no-hit defense, the other guy was a guy who could swing the bat off the bench. In the book is you can't use your backup catcher if you only have 2 catchers, because you got to keep him on the bench, because if your catcher gets hurt and you use your backup catcher, you got no one to catch. So that's why people always carried 3 catchers. I'm not so sure it's necessary. I remember Bobby Valentine, when he was managing the Mets all those years, said he didn't care. He would use his backup catcher if it was needed to win a ball game late. So it's,
I think, you know, now too, the home plate collisions don't happen anymore.
Yeah, but you can still get a foul tip.
It's a line drive base hit for Castro. Yeah, of course, catchers can still get hurt.
Catchers always get beat up. You know that.
They're not taking the railroading at home plate like they used to.
Right. And one of the great misnomers is they are not catchers, they do not use the tools of ignorance. There is a lot of responsibility behind the plate. Yogi Berra wrote a beautiful column. There's Craig Biggio, who came up as a catcher, moved over to second base, Hall of Famer, 3,000 hits. Yogi Berra wrote a column, Wayne, in the New York Times back in the 90s. It was a beautiful column, and he talked about how he handled, hit by pitch there, how he handled his pitching staff of the 50s, which was a good Yankee starting rotation, and he went through all 5 starters, or was it 4 back then, probably?
Probably 4.
And how he had to handle each one differently. And I ran into Yogi at a fundraiser or something, and I told him, I said, that was just one of the finest articles I've read about a catcher, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. And, you know, when Yogi speaks, he caught for a long time. You listen.
Yeah, Yogi was no dummy. There's all those Yogiisms and the different ways that he would try to communicate, and maybe a lot of funny sayings along the way, but he knew what he was doing. Souza was hit by a pitch. He's had so much trouble staying on the field. He's going to come off here.
You got a pinch runner. You know, today's example would be Yadier Molina. His value goes beyond beyond how good a catcher he is and a good thrower he is and hitter. It also he handles the pitching staff. He's just really involved. And Gary Carter was that way as well. We just showed a picture of Gary earlier. Got to throw him in there.
Chas McCormick is the pinch runner for Houston at first. There's the kid. A hugely missed member of the 1986 Mets.
Left us too early.
Shallow center. Nimmo's got a long way to run coming in, and he gives way to McNeil, who drops the ball. 1 run scores. Around third, McCormick heads home. No relay from Lindor. So 2 runs come in, and we talked about it earlier. Nimmo playing very deep in center field, and maybe some of those bloop shots falling in. That one does for Taylor Jones, and it cost the Mets 2 runs.
Nimmo, top of your screen to break. A little bit of a late break there, and that's the difference. Nice effort by McNeil to get out there. Glad there was no collision. It could have been ugly.
Seemed like Nimmo pulled back a bit because McNeil was charging so hard.
He couldn't get there. It was the only one who had a chance to catch that ball was McNeil.
Ball landed in about medium depth center field. That's how far back Brandon is playing.
Well, he's playing a deep outfield.
Especially here, 410 to straightaway center. He's not far from that 410 sign.
And I have no issue with that.
A 2-run bloop for Jones.
Well, he realizes he's not going to get there, even if he dove, and then you got to worry about McNeil coming out. And then that's a play where the outfielder's the policeman there, and Nimmo can't call that ball because he can't get there.
This is Greg Kessinger at the plate, batting where Jeremy Pena was, the shortstop. Gray is the grandson of former big leaguer Don Kessinger, was a 1969 Cub. You come across Don much in your career?
I played Don. Don wound up with the Cardinals when I was a very young player, my rookie year. He ended up with St. Louis. I think he went somewhere else after, but he played 1 season.
It was the White Sox after, I think.
Yes, went to the White Sox, but he played with us. I forget, 75, 74. A long time ago.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Kessinger. 22-pitch inning here for Dellin Betances. Good curveball there. Strikes out Kessinger looking. The side retired. Houston, though, with a couple of runs on a bloop base hit. Mets lead shrinks to 1. Little opening day preview on Thursday. Mets and the Nationals, 1 o'clock, presented by Citi. Our next spring training broadcast here on SNY. Bring the Dippin' Dots for that ball game on Thursday. J.D. Davis will lead off. Takes a pitch high from Jairo Solis. Saw reports here coming through today that the Boston Red Sox have a new part owner. LeBron James has bought into the Fenway Sports Group, making him a part owner of the Red Sox. So now Magic Johnson has a chunk of the Dodgers and LeBron's got a chunk of the Red Sox. Ball and a strike on J.D. Davis. Some new Astros on the field. C.J. Hinojosa is at second base. Kessinger, we mentioned at short.
Oh, there's a young slugger. You never know.
You never do.
Got to come somewhere. That could be the next J.D. Davis. Next.
Could be.
Pete Alonso. Who knows?
I know.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's out.
Oh, she has had it with him.
She's winning this battle, I would say, so far. Ball 4 to Davis. Leadoff walk.
Oh, one guy's got his hat on crooked. Come on, put that hat on right. Look like a ball player.
Going with the Fernando Rodney look. Some of the Edwin Diaz Francisco Lindor fan club.
Is there a forehead under that hair?
Good to see fans and especially the kids at the ballpark
No
get to come back.
No fooling.
There it is. He's trying to show you. There it is.
There it is.
He's there. But it's nice to see the kids back at the park and getting a chance to watch real baseball again. We'll see crowd sizes of different variations once the season begins. Sure, the players, by and large, Keith, are going to be happy the fans are back. Maybe a few of them that liked having the lower impact, but
I have got to feel that the players are dying to have the fans back in the ballpark. I mean, how can you not? You feed off the energy. I do think that it was helpful for Edwin Diaz last year because he got off to a tough April, had the tough year prior, and I think if he had that April he had last year and there were 45,000 people in the ballpark, you know how Met fans are, I think it would have been much more difficult. He was able to ride that storm, find himself, had a good second half, and he's had a great spring.
McCann hits this one deep towards center. Pedro Leon, the new center fielder, makes the catch. Davis back to first with 1 out.
So I mean, you just don't, you take for granted. I mean, my whole entire career there was always people in the ballpark, you know, of varying sizes, but still there was people in the ballpark. I could not imagine playing without fans.
So where Javier Baez said something to the effect that it was even worse than being on the backfields for a spring training game or
a B game.
A B game or one of those early camp games. He said it was even worse than that. You're in these huge stadiums and there's no one there. Another chance for Leone, this time a late break, but he's there to make the catch. Fake the throw without the ball in his hand even.
That'll work.
2 outs.
Number 9, center fielder Brandon Nimmo.
Brandon yet to get on base today. Jeez, 0 for 3.
Pretty unusual. Still a happy guy, though. He made a great catch earlier in this game. Robbed Alex Bregman of a potential extra base hit. Facing Jairo Solis here in the 6th. Trevor May, one of the new Met relievers, getting set in the bullpen. We'll see him in the 7th, which is where we'll see him probably a lot in the upcoming year, especially once Seth Lugo is back.
Very aggressive pitcher. May goes after hitters. Hard fastball, hard breaking ball.
He's one of those guys that's started to live with that high fastball and gotten some good results from him. Curveball missed. 4th plate appearance for Nimmo today would be for Lindor if he gets a chance here as well. Starting to see players play deeper into games at this point. Just a couple weeks out from the start of the regular season. Hit hard to first, knocked down by Ducote. He'll have no play, and look at the runner going from 1st to 3rd. The ball dropped at 3rd base, and he's going to run right home. How about that base running as J.D. Davis comes all the way from 1st to score on an infield hit.
Well, Nimmo, it will advance with the ball going into the dugout to 3rd base, but good hustle, alert base running by J.D. Davis. The throw was perfect, but the 3rd baseman did not make the catch. Otherwise, J.D. is out. But good hustle. He didn't even look behind him. He just made up his mind. That's very unusual that he would make that choice without looking behind him. And if they make the play, he's out at 3rd. So that would be an E, I got to believe an E5 on the score there.
I think that was more of an appeal attempt at 3rd than a pickoff to make sure that Davis touched up at 3rd base. Robel Garcia, the 3rd baseman who was late to cover, just kind of mispositioned there in the shift. And J.D. Davis with some extremely aggressive base running going from 1st to home on Nimmo's infield single. Lindor hammers one way back to right. Francisco Lindor has his first home run in a Mets uniform. And the Mets have opened up a 7-3 lead.
Down and in. That's a left-hander's happy zone. Right there, out over the plate, full extension, no doubt.
Astros are changing pitchers after Solis allowed that bomb to Francisco Lindor. Carson LaRue will be on the mound for Houston when we return. Home run number 1 for Francisco Lindor in a Mets uniform. Chased Jairo Solis from the game. Now it's Carson LaRue for the Astros.
Well, there's his 19 minor league numbers.
Trying to give you a run for the money with that mustache.
Very thin mustache.
You don't like that one?
Let me see. Let me take a look. Come on.
Lift your head up, Carson.
Look up.
Give us a peek. There it is.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. That'll work.
Okay. He passed. Keith Hernandez mustache test.
Good swing. Hit a boy.
Well, there you go. Good swing by Almora as he fouled it off. First time we've seen Almora at the plate today. Really struggled offensively for the Cubs last year. He had his best offensive season as a Cub with Chili Davis as the hitting coach in 2018. So the Mets are hoping that the reunion between Chili and Almora results in a better offensive year for him. One time he was a real prospect for the Cubs. He was a first-round pick, but was taken pretty early in the draft, number 6 overall in 2012.
A couple good years, and then it just fell off for him.
Goes the other way, deep toward the right field corner. McCormick on the run, makes the running catch. Good play by Chas McCormick. Take a hit away from Almora. That ends the inning. Francisco Lindor a homer to make it a 7-3 game. After a challenging year, SNY's Play Ball is back, teaming up with the New York Mets. We're looking to help local baseball and softball leagues in need to continue play in 2021, providing grants, equipment donations, and special Mets experiences. Apply today at sny.tv/playball. CJ Hinojosa will lead off the top of the 7th against Trevor May.
There's May's numbers with the Twinkies last year. That's the Twins, folks.
That's right. Some good years with Minnesota. Started throwing that pitch a lot more last year. Used to be very fastball heavy. Now he's got more of a mixture of the slider with the fastball. His best season for the Twins in 2019 at a 2.94 ERA that year. He gave up a home run to Dominic Smith in the middle of that season in July of 2019 at Target Field, and May said it kind of changed his focus. That home run in particular turned Trevor May around that season.
Well, it's a game of constant adjustment. You know, you lose a little bit of a fastball, you got to become a pitcher. So many pitchers over the past, what, 10, 15 years that have been the way it had trended, looking for guys that can blow the radar gun off the charts and don't know how to pitch. I think we're getting back to now where these guys are saying, why should I beat my brains out 150% every pitch? Why don't I just pull a little bit on the pull a little back on the reins, have command, pitch to contact. You last a lot longer too.
We are all for more contact in baseball for the upcoming season. Hopefully we'll see more contact. The ball's supposed to be different.
We'll find out.
Strike 3 call, 97 on the black from Trevor May. He strikes out the first batter he faces today.
Knee high outside corner fastball. Good pitch right to the glove.
Number 98, center fielder Pedro Leon.
Very nice. All you can do as a hitter is pull up your pants and walk into the dugout and sit down. Good slider.
Pedro Leon with his pants up, looking at a breaking ball strike.
Little, I should have said, tug on your belt. That sounds better, doesn't it? Oh, good slider again, right on the corner, two back to back.
Pedro Leon is the best position player prospect in the Astros system. As May goes to the slider again. Leon got $4 million from the Astros after he defected from Cuba. The Astros did not have a first-round pick last year, and they won't have one this year because of the sign stealing scandal. That was part of the penalty, was losing back-to-back first-round picks. You could argue that signing Pedro Leon, giving him the money they gave him, kind of makes up for one of those first-round picks. Swings and misses here. May blows him away with the fastball. Leon looked overmatched by Trevor May there.
Up and in. Goodbye. Boys, May looking sharp today. Gave up a wind-blown home run. I believe his last outing to left field. Didn't have a good outing, but he's really looked sharp this time out.
Back-to-back strikeouts to start his day. Now he'll face a bona fide major leaguer in Michael Brantley. Brantley, the only Astros starter that's still in there. Couple pitches to the backstop. One escaped underneath, one over the top. Now 2 balls, no strikes on Brantley. It's Trevor May's blue rosin bag. Not your standard white. May and Brantley have certainly had some battles in the past when Brantley was with Cleveland and then Houston. May a twin. Brantley 3 for 10 in his career against Trevor May in the regular season. That was Dominic Smith under all the hoodie and the mask and sunglasses, talking to Malik Smith. Brantley turns on one, but it's foul. Another foul from Brantley, making May work a little bit after a couple of strikeouts to start the inning. Lefty righty splits for May throughout his career, pretty close to even. Time called behind home plate. Full count now on Brantley, 3-2. May only had 7 walks last season. Actually, that was a walk, ball 4. So Brantley will take his base here. That's something that May did a lot of last season. Just 7 walks and 38 strikeouts in 23 innings. Abraham Toro is the pinch runner in place of Brantley at first. Alex Bregman's spot in the order, but no longer Alex Bregman in the game. This is Robel Garcia. He was actually a member of the Mets 40-man roster very briefly in the offseason. Held up for about a week with the Mets before moving on elsewhere. A good year in the minors a couple of years ago. Got some big league time with the Cubs. Couple of quick strikes here for Trevor May. Garcia is a guy with a chance to break the big league roster. If not at the beginning, then at some point for the Astros. Lays off the breaking ball from May to make it 1-2. Fouled back by Garcia, and so far this has now turned into a 22 pinch inning for Trevor May. Went pretty smoothly for the first couple of hitters. Now Brantley had a long at bat. Robel Garcia fighting some pitches off. 22 pitches. It's considered kind of a longish inning.
Is that a Mastiff back there?
It's a big boy.
It is a Mastiff. Wow.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Garcia. Dog's probably waiting to eat a baseball. Maybe he ate Lindor's after Francisco Lindor homered in the bottom of the 6th. 413-foot home run for Lindor. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Trevor May ends up with 3 strikeouts in a fairly long half inning. Also walked 2 batters. It's time to stretch in Port St. Lucie. 7-3 lead for the Mets. They've hit 3 home runs today. Dominic Smith, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor with his first home run in a Mets uniform today. This is I don't know if she's cold or if that washcloth is cooling her. Not sure what's going on.
You know what that washcloth reminds me of?
What's that?
Don't get nervous. In St. Louis on the hot days, they used to have buckets full of ammonia water. And with towels, the trainers, I mean, it was how hot St. Louis was on that turf. And it's Pete's up here. That was the most refreshing thing. They'd put it on your face and you would breathe through your nose, and the ammonia would kind of, give you a jolt. It would get rid of all the sweat, and you put it on the back of your neck, and it was the most refreshing thing in a hot day in St. Louis, hot, humid day.
Alonso laid on that fastball from Carson LaRue. The temperature on the field at Busch Stadium with the turf would get up into the 115 range.
Oh, higher than that.
Did you have any trouble with the cleats?
Cleats would brand your soles. If you follow me, I would go home and because it was a day game, and I go home and I'd be get in bed and go to sleep and my feet would be burning the bottom of my soles. I go and look, and I was branded with my metal cleats under my soles. It was so hot. I've said this story before. Reggie Smith went out there with rubber cleats, and they melted. Pete continues to use the opposite field. Well done.
It's his 3rd hit today. Doubled earlier. He's got a home run, and now this well-struck single.
I think he needs a pinch runner, and here he comes. Good day for Pete.
And a nice hand for him as well as he comes off.
Look at that, just going right with it. Look at the eye on the ball, hitting the ball up at the plate. Look at Conforto watching. That was nice. Well done.
The Mets get more of a 2019 Alonso than a 2020. This team is going to score a lot. They're going to be one of the most dangerous offenses in baseball.
It's a pretty good 3 and 4 or 5 punch with Alonso and Conforto, is it not?
Plus Lindor in the 2-hole and what Dominic Smith can provide.
It is a very, very good lineup.
It's going to be a potent offensive team. Defense might be another story. We'll see how the pitching holds up. A lot deeper pitching staff than it was last year, with some additions, including Taijuan Walker and Carlos Carrasco to the rotation. Plus Stroman back. He didn't pitch at all last year. Neither did Syndergaard. Malik Smith is running. Double clutch by the catcher Manaea, and it's a stolen base for Malik Smith.
Well, that's part of Smith's game. And he pilfers that bag easily.
Pilfers, like that.
Mets have kept their the big boys and the big guns in the lineup here. Pete's only the second change. Dominic Smith left.
Well, Lindor is talking to the media right now, so he's probably out of the game.
That's true, but they're getting their playing time, and they're starting to stretch them out.
It's good.
Yes.
Conforto looks at a strike. And speaking of Francisco Lindor, he's live right now on SNY social media. Twitter, Facebook, wherever you can find it on your phone or tablet or computer. Miguel Castro will pitch the top of the 8th. He's been impressive so far this spring. Soft roller to Dugotti at first. Malik Smith advances to third on Conforto's ground out.
Number 6, second baseman, Jeff McNeil.
Here's McNeil hitless today. Now 1 for 21 this spring. McNeil today has struck out, grounded out, and lined out to center. Infield is in, but also overshifted. McNeil drops this one toward the right field corner. That's a base hit. It scores Malik Smith. Jeff McNeil headed for second. An RBI double gives the Mets an 8-3 lead.
Well, McNeil, who came into the game struggling, hit the ball well. His last at bat, line drive right at the center fielder. And then right here, down and in fastball, he unloads, drives it down the right field line. So he's got to feel good about making progress today.
McNeil's day is done. Nice way to finish for him after the slow start to the spring. Here's J.D. Davis. Jake Hager is the pinch runner at second for McNeil. We saw Davis taking some liberties on the bases earlier. Scored from first on an infield single. Looked like he would have been thrown out at third, but Robel Garcia, third baseman, dropped the throw, and then Davis just took off and scored on it. It's going to be a tough play if it stays fair, but it doesn't. 0-2 on Davis. Talked about Lindor and his media availability after the game today. Discussing his contract negotiations, he reiterated and emphasized that if there is no new contract for him by opening day, then he will not negotiate whatsoever during the season, that he will become a free agent. So the window is that 15 days or so to get that done with Lindor. Did you ever have any contract talk, anything like that come up during a season?
No, all my contracts were decided in the off season. But that being said, that's why you have agents. You can continue negotiating, having your agent's the front man, and your player does not have to get involved. The only phone calls that are made are, we haven't made any progress. They've offered this X amount of dollars more. What do you think? And it's just it's not complicated. So I really think that with Lindor, it's probably posturing, turning of the screw on the Met front office. But I don't see where negotiations are going to stop during the season. And it'll probably be a very nice strike right there. It'll probably be very hush-hush about it, too. So the press doesn't have it in the papers and go on behind closed doors.
2 outs. McCann will bat, so you're not buying the opening day and it's over.
I don't know Lindor enough. As of now, we can't go down there and talk to these guys. I've yet to meet them. For crying out loud. You too, right, Wayne?
Yep, absolutely.
So I don't have any feel for the guy.
It does seem that he's pretty hands-on with this stuff.
Yeah, it does.
If that's going to come into play, he's got a lot of going on.
So if he's having a great first half and the Mets come with, a big contract, he's going to say, no, can't do it. Season's on. Somehow I don't think so.
He's going to social distance himself from contract negotiations.
Oh, it's gone from 10 to 6 feet. Boy, that Fauci, I tell you.
It's at 6 feet right now. It's always been 6 feet, hasn't it? Who said
10 feet.
When was 10?
It was 10 in the beginning.
Oh, back in the beginning.
So. Oh,
McCann pops it up. Should be easy for Pedro Leon. The center fielder puts it away to retire. McCann inning over. Mets got another run. McNeil with an RBI double to make it 8-3. Grom today, another masterful job this spring. 6 strikeouts. He was punching out Astros left and right in a 4-inning span today. DeGrom just getting that pitch count back up as he approaches opening day. But Keith, he looks like he is very sharp right now.
Well, he's on top of his game. He's on top of the world, on top of the pitching major league world. He's the best pitcher in the game. You can just see he had the first 3 innings. He had 2 strikeouts in all 3 of these innings and finally gave up a run. But the only mistake he made was a high fastball over the middle to Jeremy Pena that was kind of wind blown, and that broke his scoreless streak. But a couple balls were hit hard in the 4th. But it's just another brilliant outing.
16 strikeouts in 9 innings so far this spring. 1 walk, 1 run allowed, and just a few hits. So Jake Myers at the plate facing Miguel Castro. Castro's had a good spring so far. He's a lot like Familia in the situation that he's got to throw strikes to be effective. He gets wild quite a bit.
Yes. And, last year he came over and, whenever you're traded in the middle of the season, it's unsettling. So now he's starting from scratch. And he's has a firm foundation here in the orange and blue. And he's having a really good spring. He's got great stuff. He just fast to throw strikes. He's got a great arm. He's shown a lot of guts. He was in some tight jams last year and pitched out of them.
Strike 3 called. 98 on the inside corner from Miguel Castro to strike out Myers.
Inside fastball with 2 strikes, locked him up.
Number 88, catcher Scott Manea.
Scott Manea will be the batter now.
Oh, I like his glove. Matches the uniform.
Yeah, he did that with Baltimore too. He had to change it up a little bit now with the new team.
I don't like the stripes, horizontal stripes on the socks with the Mets. It's too much with the pinstripes. It's too much going on. Too busy. I'm sure there's a lot of interior designers out there that are just going, "Oh my gosh."
We're trying to show that old stirrup look, I think.
Just remember the piping in the 80s when Mazzelli came up and they had the piping. We had the piping actually. It was just too much. When you got pinstripes, there's not much you can do. It's very busy. And I like the pinstripes.
That uniform is A+. Even like this blue alternate, although I don't like it when they wear the blue alternate at home. I like when they wear it on the road better.
I like it looks like some of the players want to wear the black tops. Is that going to come back this year?
Sounds like it. Do you like the black jerseys?
I don't mind. I like, to me, it reminds me of softball when you two-tone.
Yeah.
And I don't care for it, although blue's my favorite color, so it's more blue, which is very pleasing to my eye. That's my favorite color right there.
I like when the Cardinals brought the powder blue back.
Yes, on the road. I wore those.
Outside.
That's a good look for them. Yeah, the black jerseys, you know, from a nostalgia standpoint, I get it. Those were some good Mets teams when the Mets wore those black jerseys. From a aesthetic standpoint, I'm not a fan.
Well, evidently, that was the Valentine era when they were wearing those. Mm-hmm. And I'll be brief here on this 4-3 in your scorecard. The players liked it because the uniform really breathed well in the heat. Even though black absorbs the sun, the heat from the sun, they said that it wasn't like the polyester uniforms where you sweated underneath it and you couldn't breathe. They were very airy.
Chas McCormick could find his way on this Astro ball club. John Franco, number 31.
Yes.
Actually, Mike Piazza, number 31. My mistake. I was
Piazza.
Living in another universe for a second there.
That's a fine.
That is a big fine.
Wayne.
I was throwing a good game today until that.
Wayne, I want you to go up to the chalkboard and write 100 times. I will not say number 31 is John Franco.
He did wear 31 with the Mets.
All right, we'll cut you some. We'll cut you some slack.
Not like I just made that up. But yes, that number is there for Mike Piazza. They both wore black jerseys. There's Mike Piazza.
They got the one of the streets out here. It's Mike Piazza Avenue. You know
that's
that,
right. Coming right into the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. What a great player he was. What a great hitter.
Hall of Famer. Took a few years to get him in, but he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Our strike 3. Big, strong inning.
1, 2, 3.
Strong.
And a couple strikeouts. And there's Piazza drive. Number 31, Mike Piazza. Geico Sports Night tonight at 11. A new deal for Leonard Williams with the New York Giants. Rutgers getting ready for the NCAA tournament. Boy, our producer today, Eddie Warman, sweating it out. Rutgers will play Clemson to start the NCAA tournament this weekend. And in case you are lost, here you are in Port St. Lucie, Florida, Keith.
Oh, boy. I've never seen that. Can we show that again?
Well, that's somewhere out near the backfields. I've seen that before.
Okay, how about that? Very sweet. That's about right, yeah. It's around 1,200, 1,300 miles all the way out to Sag Harbor from down here.
You didn't drive it like Gary and Ron did?
No.
Well, you live here.
When I drive down, if I do, I always go through the Gettysburg and then down the Shenandoah Valley, take my time through the Smokies, cut through the Carolinas, back through Savannah and Charleston. So I do the long route.
You like the scenic route is what you're saying.
Yeah, the Shenandoah Valley is beautiful.
Here's Jonathan Villar batting for the first time today. Talked earlier about Villar's merits for making the team. Had a tough year last year, but he was very good in 2019 for Baltimore. Villar really more of a second baseman than anything else. He's played outfield some. He can play around the infield, but really most comfortable at second, as McWilliams will pitch the 9th inning today.
Another late pickup by the Mets. Nice veteran for the bench. He can play shortstop, second base. We're going to have another one of these marathon at bats, Luis. Luis, come on. It's the bottom of the 8th.
That was really something on Sunday, watching Guillorme get through 22 pitches against Jordan Hicks, who was pitching for the first time in a professional game in a year and a half. So Jordan Hicks was just trying to get some work in and ran into Luis Guillorme.
Well, it reminds me of a fun story. A strike 3 called. Steve Carlton, I was having social sparkler with Steve, and Steve never talked when he played to the opposing player, so he can talk, and I never realized that for 17 years.
Didn't talk to the media much either.
No, and he said Ron Hunt, we all know Ron Hunt was our first all-star for the Mets, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was one of my roommates. Ron led the league in always in hit by pitches, and he had the reputation of putting body armor on his ribs, and he would lean in. And Carlton said he was pitching a game for the Phillies, and he was or it was the Cardinals, excuse me, and he was up 4 runs in the 8th inning, and he said he was hot, and he knew that Hunt was just going to foul off, and I didn't want to waste any pitches, so I just drilled him the first pitch. Go ahead, take first base.
It's a good plan. Luis Guillorme lines out. Only 3 pitches to get him this time as the bottom of the 8th comes to an end. 1, 2, 3 as we head to the 9th. Back in the 6th inning today, we saw Francisco Lindor hit his first home run as a Met.
Well, that was the big blow in this game that blew the game open for the Mets. His first home run, as Wayne said, down and in fastball, middle in, and showing the pop. Sam McWilliams picked up from Tampa Bay. Big, tall guy, throws hard, command issues. Last time out, he walked the bases loaded, then got out of the jam.
Sam McWilliams has a chance to make the team. They really look at him as a multi-inning guy. He'll pitch just 1 inning here, though.
Yeah, he would definitely be a long inning reliever. But he's got to throw strikes. Don't we all?
If you have that job, that's pretty much it. Got to get it over the plate. Big kid, 6'7".
Yes, he is.
Keeps getting mistaken for Syndergaard around here.
And he is a big man.
Bounced around. You know, he's just been in a few different organizations: the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, then Tampa Bay. He's yet to make his major league debut, although the Mets gave him a major league contract. And there's 4 pitches out of the strike zone to put a runner on to lead off the top of the 9th as Alex DeGoey draws a walk.
This is how he started out in his last outing. If he keeps on with this, he's going to wind up in AAA.
Or at least the alternate site to begin the year. The AAA season won't start until May, so they will have an alternate site set up for the first month of the season.
In Brooklyn again, I gather.
Yes. They're hoping, and really baseball so far this spring has done a great job with COVID. There have been very few positive tests. I don't think any spring training games have been canceled. So baseball is certainly in a different spot than where they were last year and through last season, with a huge need for that alternate site. This year I don't think they'll really need it much, but it'll be nice, I'm sure, for the teams to have, including in the Mets case, just easy access to Brooklyn and grab some players if they need them, at least through April. Williams has a good arm. You just saw it there at 95. Like Castro, like Familia. Has to find the strike zone to be effective. Slow chopper here, trying to start a double play. VR goes around the horn to Tovar to Hager for 2.
Much easier, isn't it? You turn a double play, put the ball in play, and get a double play. You get 2 for the price of 1 instead of a strikeout. Or you got to get 2 more outs. Pitcher's best friend. It always has been. Wayne?
Yes, it is.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't mean that literally. Haji heard me say that. Oh, jeez.
I said no Haji today.
I wouldn't hear the end of it.
You snuck Haji in right at the end here.
Oh, you know what's been great about Haji with daylight savings time is that the sun doesn't come up to an hour later in the morning. He wakes me up at sunrise, so I get an extra hour in.
you have him as you trained, it sounds like,
yes.
at this point.
He's hungry in the morning, and he lets me know.
Oh, no dogs in Haji's neighborhood. Is this the dog days of spring training when you get to the midway point here?
Yeah, no question. You're starting to get anxious to get north.
You know, Hossa stays alive, still 2-2. In the dirt, strike 3. Bruce Maxwell, the new catcher for the Mets, throws him out. And the Mets win 8-3, the final score here in Port St. Lucie today. Sam McWilliams rebounded from a leadoff walk to pitch a scoreless inning after a double play and a strikeout. The Mets take care of business offensively today, and they pound away at Astros pitching.
Yes, they did. And DeGrom with 4 strong innings, 2 hits, only 1 run. The home run, struck out 6. Typical DeGrom. Lindor got 2 hits today with the 2-run home run, his first home run in spring. Dominic Smith, 3-run shot early in the ball game, been swinging the bat great. Pete Alonso had a big day with 3 hits, and McNeil, who has been struggling, only had 1 hit coming into this game. He last 2 at bats hit 2 bullets, so all good signs today.
Our game summary brought to you by Ford as the Mets defeat the Astros 8-3 on a sunny afternoon here in Florida today. New York Mets baseball and SNY is brought to you by Tri Honda. Contact your local Honda dealer for a great deal today. By Delta, the official airline of the New York Mets. By Lexus, experience amazing. And by Spectrum. Spectrum Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data. You could save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. Final score in Port St. Lucie, the Mets beat the Astros 8-3. Our next broadcast Thursday afternoon right here on SNY. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock for the Mets against the Washington Nationals. For Keith Hernandez and our entire crew today, we say so long from Port St. Lucie, where the Mets beat the Astros by a final score of 8-3.